Welcome, everybody, to the Bully Resistance Show. My name is David Wells. You know, I've had many people on the road and actually on social media ask me how they can help bring awareness and help me fight against bullying in the public schools. And, you know, one of the ways that you can do that, you can actually go to www.davebond.org, and you can click on and if you scroll down, you can actually click on the Patreon logo, and you can support the foundation and me going into the public schools as low as $4 a month. And in doing, or actually in becoming a sponsor or being a monthly supporter, we'll be emailing everyone the track of the week or the CD of the month, depending on the sponsorship levels. But also, you can actually subscribe to the Bully Resistance Show. If you haven't done so now, just you can actually click on the banner on the website on the front page that says subscribe to the Bully Resistance Show. The Bully Resistance Show is brought to you by Nathan Alfred Insurance. It's an independent insurance agency located in Vienna, West Virginia. They specialize in auto, home, life, and business insurance. And also what actually makes the agency unique is their ability to shop the market for you. Also, the Bully Resistance Show is brought to you by Planet Fitness. Come out and check out the new and improved Planet Fitness. They have all new strength equipment, tanning beds, rowing machines, and more. You can actually become a member just starting at $10 a month. Just go to planetfitness.com for more information.
Welcome, everyone, to the Bully Resistance Show with David Wells, nationally known smooth jazz artist, CEO and co-founder of the Chocolate Jazz Foundation, and the co-host of a 2-hour syndicated radio program called Chocolate Jazz Radio. Bully Resistance is a weekly 1-hour show that's a motivational, informative, and inspirational program. We will have interviews with musicians, actors, government officials, politicians, psychologists, counselors, and just average day citizens. Of course, the topics will include making right choices, never giving up desire, discipline, determination, bullying in public school, the workplace, and in your community, bully resistance and prevention, self-defense, jiu-jitsu, and current affairs, and much, much more. And if you're ready, we are. Here's your host, David Wells.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of the Bully Resistance Show. My name is David, and today we're going to hear the ups and downs from a mom of 2 kids that have been bullied in school and how she actually took matters into her own hands and how she fought against bullying. So at this time, I want to introduce Stephanie on the Bully Resistance Show. Stephanie, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Gosh, I'm thinking. I think it was probably about a week ago. I got a phone call from Mike Stump, who is the co-owner of Parkersburg Jiu-Jitsu in Vienna, and he was telling me your story about your daughter, your son, and how they were being bullied, and how he wanted to help the family by providing free lessons. But anyway, after talking to him, I knew I wanted to hook up with you somehow, if it's on the phone or if it's on the show. And but that being said, let me start off by saying this. We all know there's a huge percentage of students and adults that are getting bullied, and even a bigger percentage of students and adults that bully. But the majority of what goes on eventually in regards to bullying gets resolved. I mean, it might not be like we want it to be resolved, but it does get resolved. So that being said, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're born and raised, if you're married, how many kids you have, their ages, and so on.
All right. Well, I'm 34 years old. I've been married and with my husband for 14 years. We have 2 kids.
Congratulations.
My son is, thank you. My son is 15, soon to be 16 and driving, so that's a whole nother scare. And my daughter is 13, going on 30. So we face struggles like many middle class Americans do. Right. Both parents work and just trying to provide everything that's needed.
So both parents are working?
Yes. We're both, we both were working. Sorry, I'll fix that. I actually was working up until around the 23rd of October.
Okay.
Due to the suicide attempt on the 21st, I was unable to do anything,
Okay.
speak, think, so I was not able to do my job, and they graciously let me resign so I could be home for when my daughter got home to take care of her and try to get her put back on the right track, I guess.
Right. Let me mention this to you. You mentioned it to me before that both of your kids have been bullied. First, tell me about your son and his whole situation when he was bullied, and from how old he was and how long it lasted, and so forth.
Okay. Well, my son he really didn't experience much bullying in middle school. His was more coming up into middle school, so roughly 4th and 5th grade. He is small for his age, just really tiny. He was really short at the time, but so aren't I. And he was the target of a lot of bigger kids, some kids that had been held back a couple of years. So these kids were as big as me, and my son came up to my hip, so to speak.
Wow, okay.
And there was just many incidences on the bus on the way home that they would take his book bag and throw it around. They would push him around, knock him down into the aisle. The bus driver that they had was a gem and did everything he could to make sure that he stopped the bullying. The kids that were bullying was suspended off the bus for so long, but obviously that can only be done for so long.
Right.
And the incident that I guess brought all this to my attention, because I understand people say kids will be kids, but my son was having his head busted off a brick house while waiting on the school bus. And I contacted the school because I actually worked at a station at that time right near the school bus. So I had a bunch of people writing in and telling me what was happening, and I ran over there to stop it. However, somebody had already called my husband, and we met each other down there. And I contacted the school that he was attending and told them what had happened. There was many witnesses to attest to it, and I was told that they could not do anything. It was not on school property. And when I informed them that it's school affiliated, he was at the bus stop, nothing was done. And that was very frustrating because the bullying with him still continued, because I want to say that was in his 4th grade. Okay. So when he got to 5th grade, it continued with getting knocked down, his book bag kicked around, books kicked down the hallway. And I did what some parents do, and I'm not proud of it, but I told him, I said, take matters into your own hands. I said, I don't want you to start the fight, but you're going to stop it. You're going to, if you continue to allow this bullying to happen to you, you're going to get in trouble with me. Like, don't let people do this to you. Don't let them knock you down. Fight back. But again, I think that was coming from just a scared and upset mom who I contacted the school and I didn't get anywhere. So I felt that there was nothing at that time that I could do, just being told kids will be kids. And he was attacked one more time on the bus, and he took matters into his own hands and fought back. He was then suspended from the bus for the 3 days. And I had a smile on my face taking him to school those next 3 days because he was never messed with since.
Let me ask you this. So what grade did he actually start getting bullied at? Was it 4th?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. Okay. End of 3rd, beginning of 4th is when it really started with him. Okay. And I just feel that was based on his size, to be honest.
Let me ask you this. So was this the first time that you realized that he was getting bullied when the incident happened, when his when the kids were banging his head against the wall, or was it before?
Before that incident, he was being bullied just on the bus with getting pushed around or, punched in the stomach.
And did your son actually? So did he come and tell you that he was getting bullied, or did you find out from another parent, or how did you actually find out that he was getting bullied then?
He came to us because then he would, because we just live close to the bus stop, so he would come home and still be crying, and we're asking him what's going on, and he's telling us, and he told us the kid that did it.
Right.
This kid had been in trouble numerous times for the same situation and bringing weapons to school, things like that.
So shortly after that, when he took matters in his own hands, the bullying sort of deceased a little bit.
Yes, he actually has not said anything to us since then. We ask him occasionally, especially with all this coming up with my daughter,
right?
Because he's now in the high school, right. And his grades have improved. They're not, where a parent would like to see them, but they're a lot better than what they were. Mm-hmm. And he says that obviously there's still bullying that goes on in the high school. He don't get a whole lot of it. He's just one of those that he can ignore it now. Mm-hmm. And I believe since the incident on the bus, a lot of people might be afraid to bully him because of his retaliation. Now,
you mentioned you have a 13-year-old daughter that was bullied. But what was the bullying different way, or was it in a different way? Tell me about that. Was it more of a physical bullying, or was it verbal or social bullying?
Hers is more completely different, actually. My son's was more physical, and my daughter's have been more verbal and a lot with social media. There's been, I don't want to say there's really been any physical other than she said a boy smacked her butt going down the hallway.
Right.
I think that was the only incident of anything physical happening. But other than that, it's been just a lot of verbal and social media.
Now, did your daughter come to you when she was getting bullied, or how did you find out about that?
At first, no. My daughter has always been this larger-than-life person.
Sure.
Any collar that you can think of, she would wear it all at once. She was just that person that you could not help when you seen them but smile, regardless on what type of mood you were in. If you were in a bad mood, she would go stand on her head if it would make you smile. And she was like this with everybody. She is such a people person, a people pleaser. She just loves to make people happy. And we noticed more last year, because the bullying really started with her near the end of 6th grade, beginning of 7th grade. And she just became closed off. She used to paint all the time, draw. I don't know how many art sets we've had to buy her.
Right.
And sing. This girl loved to sing.
Oh, really?
I think we've actually, yes. I think we've been through 3 karaoke machines, and that's not from them just being broken. That's just from them being dying. Used. Like there's no more work that can come out of them.
Sure.
And
sure.
She put the karaoke machine away, and the art stuff went underneath the bed, and she asked for sweatpants and hoodies, and she just quit smiling. And then we knew there was a problem, and obviously with the age, we wanted to say, well, hormones are changing, kids will be kids, teenagers like to hide in their room. And we let that go on for a little while, just trying to give her some space to find herself, or her new self, so to speak.
Sure. And
it just got worse. She didn't want to join in with family activities. Me and her grew apart. We used to be inseparable,
Right.
mother-daughter relationship. And we got to where we were really short with each other, and she didn't want to talk to me. She wouldn't confide in me about anything. She didn't want to watch any romantic movies anymore. And that's when the phone calls from the school started to come and tell me that she had, stolen something from a kid. Her grades were plummeting. And this was all last year. And, if I didn't get a call once a week from the school, then something was wrong. That's how often they were calling. Sometimes it was 2 or 3 times in a week.
Right.
And I spoke with the school and told them my concerns. Like, she's never had this issue before. I don't know what's going on. This is how she's become really quiet at home. And then she had a discussion with one of her friends, I guess, in the bathroom at school, that she wanted to hurt herself. And that friend, thank God, went to the office, and the school called me and told me that I needed to have her evaluated before she could come back. And I think at that point is when we realized just how severe everything had become. That's when all these names started coming out of her mouth of people bullying her and things that they were saying or doing. And we had found out that when we had taken her up to the hospital, she had actually began cutting herself. As she said that this was the only thing that she had control over, was how much pain that she was in during that time. So it was her release, and it was her way of being in control of being hurt instead of everybody else hurting her.
Wow. You know what, Stephanie? I have been fighting against bullying for several years, and bullying has been, around. Matter of fact, there was a movie franchise that started about maybe 16 or 17 years ago, and there was I think there was a total of 3 or 4 movies, and the very first movie was focusing on bullying and appearance. Everything else, it was called Shrek, and so it's been a huge problem. I think all kinds of bullying are harmful, and it hurts. The physical bullying, the social bullying, the verbal bullying, the cyberbullying. With your daughter being more of a verbal, going through verbal and cyberbullying, how does that compare to your son being bullied physically? Is one worse than the other? And then if it's one's worse, then why do you think it's worse?
Well, I would say obviously all kinds of bullying. To me, I would think of them as being the same because it's hurting somebody else. But in terms of lasting effect that I've seen, my son has he grew into a very strong young man, not wanting to let somebody hurt him.
Right.
And on the other hand, with my daughter, I believe with all the verbal abuse and with social media, so you can never get away from it. It's always there. I feel that it's taken a more detrimental toll on her only because of that. And I'm not condoning any bullying or hitting, nothing like that.
Sure.
But if a bully were to come up and punch me in the face, I'm going to have a busted nose or a black eye for a couple of weeks, and it's going to hurt for a few days. But I'm eventually going to be able to look into the mirror, and I'm not going to see those scars. Whereas my daughter, she looks in the mirror, and all she sees is what people have told her that she is. She's worthless. She's fat. She's not worthy of love. She needs to harm herself. So although the physical scars aren't there, those emotional scars, those words, you can't get them to disappear like that bruise would.
Right. Let me ask this. So what have you done since this whole situation with your kids, especially with your daughter, have you done to fight against bullying? I know that you recently maybe put a Facebook page together. What is the name of that Facebook? I can't remember.
Families Against Bullying.
And then why did you put that Facebook together? Was it more of a just prevention, or was it more of a just to fight against bullying within that school district, or was it just to bring awareness to bullying? What was the intentions of the Facebook page?
Well, just with on my personal page, because we had actually, my husband and I had decided when this had happened that we didn't want it out there. We didn't want to do anything on Facebook in reference to the backlash that we would get and possibly the more bullying that our daughter would succumb to once light was made of it.
Right.
And, days went on and we didn't have our daughter. She was in a treatment facility hours away from us. And that hurt every night, coming into her room and not seeing her. Like, that's where I am right now doing this interview with you, is I'm sitting on her bed. And
let me ask you this.
I think that I was...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. What was that?
What was the, since you put the, that Facebook page up, has anyone told you to take it down?
No, I've not had anyone tell me to take it down. I haven't seen the backlash like I thought I would. I guess I just made that post, the original post, in the heat of the moment. We were at a birthday party, and they had gift bags for all the kids, and they had one for my daughter. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, she couldn't be there, and that just, it crushed me, because I felt that not only was she robbed of being able to be here, she was almost robbed of her life. And just because of words that people want to say, and they feel that their words don't have any consequence, or that nothing will come of it. And I made that post, to be honest, mostly out of anger. Mm-hmm. And I had my husband look over it, because I did not want to post it until he read it, because I could only imagine the grammar errors, and I didn't want to attack anybody. I didn't want to become the bully myself because I was hurt.
Right.
And he read it and agreed with it, so we posted it, and I honestly did not think that it would have the outreach that it did. My phone, just hours after posting it, did not stop. I was then contacted from a few different people just in our local area, and they were meeting with a reporter from WTAP, and they had me go and meet him as well. And I did a piece for the news, and then my daughter and I just did a piece for our local newspaper, and they actually just ran the article today, which I believe is a beautiful article. They really captured the essence of what we wanted them to. And the Facebook page...
What was that, Stephanie?
To bring light to it. We didn't put that post out there to get sympathy or to just want attention. It was more as, I don't want to see another post like this. Nice. I don't want to hear of another child losing their life because we did not take this as seriously as we should have to begin with.
Right. I was actually in, and not to interrupt you, but I was actually in Dayton, Ohio, and I was doing a school assembly, and it was an inner city school, and they had a huge problem with bullying. Not to get sidetracked or anything else, but it seems like I was talking to one of the principals. I'm actually doing an interview with a principal next week, which is actually the first active principal that I've actually have interviewed, and we're going to be talking about bullying. And when I was at his school, I was talking to him what made him want to have me come, and to do an assembly, and it was just a mere fact just to keep bringing awareness against bullying. But see, there's so many principals, there's so many teachers that are so on the defensive that just because they have bullying, they feel like it reflects on them, and it doesn't. I mean, bullying. When you mentioned to me in an email that bullying is everywhere. I mean, we don't have it just in the schools, but it's in the churches, it's in the nursing homes, it's in the fitness clubs, but it's everywhere. And when getting back to the assembly in Dayton, You know, I actually, there was it was, I forgot her name. Anyway, she stood up and she said, well, Mr. Wells, if I go ahead and tell the bully to stop bullying, whoever that might be, will things get worse for me? And then I was thinking about your situation when you decided to go ahead and put the Facebook page up, which I think was an awesome thing, is because, you know, bullying is not going away. And there's so many people that just turn their back against bullying. And that's what I was thinking. Well, is the Board of Education, is the principal, or are the teachers going to start treating you differently? And I guess, in essence, have they or have they not? Or can you tell that there's there's like a wedge between you and the school district now?
To be honest, when this first came to light, I did feel like there was. And the day that WTAP went and spoke with the principal at the school my daughter attends, they had tried to call me that morning. And I looked at the phone and seen who was calling, and I didn't answer. And I feel that was because I knew why they were calling. Like, I knew it was because of the post, because it had already had over 1,000 shares at that point in less than 12 hours. Mm-hmm. And part of me was angry that why are you wanting to reach out now? Like, I've been reaching out. My husband's been reaching out for 2 years. Why are you wanting to reach out now? Because it's public? And I did not agree with that. Now, obviously, that was still the mom in me that was just so angry because I still didn't have my daughter at that point. And that was part of the new Facebook page that I had made. I put it like a blog. Again, it was Families Against Bullying. And I have a few pictures of Sierra on there, just the way she used to be, the smiles. And
the videos.
I would get my phone and check my photos, and there would be 20 photos of her just with ridiculous faces. So if I was having a hard day, I could flip through those and smile. And so I wanted to do it not only to bring awareness to the situation, but because of the outreach that I had, my phone just did not stop. I mean, messages from California, Australia, right here at home. Mm. And so I made that post to kind of make it easier to keep everybody updated at once, because I didn't want to not be able to answer the 3,000 messages that I got. I just told everybody, look here, I will keep the updates on her here. You can put your well wishes, anything that you want, just so when she comes home, she has something to look at to see that the ripple effect that this had.
Right.
That it's not only her family that this affected. This stranger in Australia is going through the same thing, and this touched her enough to reach out to me to want to help out in any way that they could.
Wow.
And inevitably, the hope of this blog, and I've spoken with my daughter about it, and she is wanting to do it, which is hopeful to me because she's wanting to begin writing again.
Nice.
Is I want her to turn this into her daily blog. I will also post messages or articles that I find interesting regarding bullying or different steps to try to prevent it. But by her being able to nightly get her feelings out,
right,
I'm hoping that it'll in turn help her sleep better. But by her telling people, you know, today was not a very good day. Mm-hmm. This happened and it made me feel this way. Mm-hmm. But this is what I did and it helped. Or this is what I did and it didn't help.
Right.
Just to get that out there so she can see it on words as well, I'm hoping will give her a different set of coping skills. But then that person in Wyoming that has tried everything that they can think of to not feel this way, when they read her post and they say, well, I didn't try this.
Right.
That might be what they need to help them.
You know,
that is what we're hoping for.
Right. You know, you mentioned earlier, you said that when people, something like when people are bullying, they don't even realize that that's what they're doing. The trend is if you will, and you are either giving it or getting it, and you're referring to bullying, I actually, I'm a person about statistics and to see if bullying's getting better or if it's getting worse. There's all kinds of statistics out there in bullying. I saw where 1 out of 3 or 4 kids have bullied others, and there's more kids that are doing the bullying that are getting bullied, which is horrible. 1 out of 3 kids are getting bullied every day of the school year, and 1 out of 3 or 4 kids are actually doing the bullying. So it's real out there. What do you think? Let me ask you this: what do you think would be the best way to prevent bullying from getting worse? Now, I know your thoughts about expelling kids that are bullying, and then I understand where you're coming from, but I also feel that there needs to be repercussions. I think expelling could be a good thing, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because there's so many parents that are not involved in their kids' lives for one reason or the other. But I think when a kid or a student gets expelled, it affects the whole family, because that child is at home for several days, and now the parents have to be concerned, okay, we have to check on the person. You know what I mean? It's just they're more involved in it. So that being said, what do you think is the best way to prevent bullying from getting worse then?
Well, I will say from just when I was in school, and this is how I can attest to just from what I've seen, of you're either giving it or getting it. And I just feel that since I was in school, it has become so much worse. There's just so many different ways of bullying now because of social media and just the words people use. I mean, these kids are 13 and 14 years old, and they're saying things that I would be ashamed to say. But I feel, and I do agree with what I had said before, like with expelling the children. But with that also being said, and obviously that's coming from an anger that I have, because this has escalated to the point of I almost lost a child because somebody else's child didn't realize, or maybe they did realize and they didn't care, that their words have a bigger effect than they realize.
Right.
Now, I feel with bullying itself, and this is something that we were putting on the blog page as well, is I feel that there is a reason for bullying, whatever the reason may be. This person may be bullying because they're also getting bullied at school, or they're getting bullied at home, or they're angry because they only get to eat once a day, and that's at school. There is a reason. We just have to come together, not only as a community, but as society in general. We need to find the bully.
Right.
That is the first. If we find the bully, then we can talk to that person. Not so to speak, expel them right off the bat, but talk to that child like you would your own child and find the reason that they are bullying. If you dig deep enough, if they go to therapy or anything like that, if we dig deep enough, we will be able to find the reason that this particular child is bullying. And whatever that reason may be, whether it's trouble at home or how they believe in themselves, or them being bullied in general, if we can find the reason, we can fix the problem. If we fix the problem for that child no longer has a reason to bully. That's one bully that we don't have. Now, obviously, there are thousands.
Right.
But if we take that one out of the picture, then that one person, that one child, is now on our team, if you will.
Wow.
And they're able to help find the next bully, find their reason.
Right.
Let's fix their problem, and that person no longer has a reason to bully. Now, obviously, this is not going to be an overnight fix, but the more bullies that we find, the more problems that we fix, it can be done on a larger scale, so to speak, not just one person at a time.
Right.
You know, we can categorize, I guess, if you will. Like, we know that this person is bullying, and they said that, you know, God forbid, they're getting hit at home, and this is how they're taking it out. Well, then we can identify that problem. We can get that child the help that they need. And that the help that they need might not be, you know, making them feel better about themselves right now. It might be getting them out of that situation.
Right.
Once that child is out of that situation and that child is given the love that they need, then there's no need for them to bully. And for every bully you take away, you're taking away 5 or more children that are getting bullied from that person.
Right. So really, there's 3 steps, if I understand you correctly. Find the bully, find the reasons, and then fix the problem. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, I was doing some research, you know, and reasons why kids bully, and it's funny because as I was reading our correspondence together in an email that you sent me, I'm not for sure if we saw the same thing, but it was like matching up to the reasons why kids bully. I'll read a few of these, and we'll go ahead and wrap things up. And maybe if I can get like an update on your daughter before we part ways. But these are the different reasons why kids bully. First of all, it says that she lacks attention from a parent at home and lashes out at others for attention. It could be children that has divorced parents. It could be children with parents that use drugs and alcohol. So that's one. There was another one. Let me see. If you have an older brother or sisters, if they've been bullied, they are more apt to bully a younger sibling to feel more secure and empower themselves. Now, I'm in a family, Stephanie, I'm in a family of 7 brothers and sisters, and I'm second to the youngest, but I honestly don't remember getting bullied, or maybe I was bullied so much that it was normal for me. But let me see. The other one, I thought this was pretty interesting, and then we'll move on. It says, we cannot rule out the fact that an adult role model is a bully. This can be included as a parent, teacher, or coaches. I thought that was pretty interesting. So, Stephanie, real quickly, can you give us an update on how your daughter's doing?
Yes, she spent 2 weeks in a facility, and we finally got to bring her back home last Friday. And we spent all day Monday and Tuesday running around and trying to get stuff set up, because I was looking to homeschool because she was adamant that she was afraid and she didn't want to go back to the school that she was attending. And Tuesday we had went up to the school because I got the papers I needed to enroll her for homeschooling, and I wanted to talk with the principal and let them know that, you know, she's missed a couple weeks of school, and I don't want that to count against her. I don't want her to get zeros on all that work because she wasn't here, and I just don't find it fair considering the circumstances. And we had spoken with the principal for about an hour, and my daughter, the warrior she is, and she floored me by saying this, and she gave me a different perspective, and she just made me see that even for 13, she has so much love, and she is just, the only word I can use is she is a warrior. And I was beyond proud that I wanted to start crying right there in front of everybody, but she said, Mom, I think I want to come back. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, I want to come back to school. And I said, so you want to come back here? You don't want me to homeschool. You want to come back here and finish out your 8th grade? And she said, yeah, I think I need to. Mm-hmm. So we gathered up all of the teachers Wednesday morning, and I had a meeting with them all with my daughter there and explained the situation and what she expected and what I expected, and also what they expected, to try to keep this from happening again or trying to overwhelm her. And today was her 3rd day back, and she's not complained about getting bullied. She actually came home and said, Mom, people I didn't know came up and hugged me and told me that they missed me. And she said, I didn't realize that I meant this much to somebody.
Wow.
And thanks to the outreach from people. She has gotten letters from everywhere. She's gotten care packages like journals and books to read about self-worth. It has made a world of difference in her, to where when I opened my phone yesterday to reply to a message, my Snapchat was actually brought up. And I was looking through the pictures, and she had taken like 10 pictures of herself with just doing the silly faces and stuff again. And that's something that she has not done in so long.
Stephanie.
And I just feel that we've come so far. We still have so much further to come, but we're at least taking a step in the right direction.
You know, let me tell you this. Your story and her example as a person, being drugged down in the mud by everybody's verbal cut downs and all the bullying that consists. I mean, your stories it's just going to have a major impact. I mean, this is just an awesome interview. I mean, I would love to go ahead, of course, hopefully down the road, be able to meet your daughter, because when somebody gets bullied to that extent, and also to try to take their life, you know what? How many people that she can go ahead and to talk to and to uplift and just encourage kids. I mean, you know, it's a huge problem out there, and for her to just to bounce right back, you know, and to be stronger. You know, here's the thing. People that are successful, they have three main ingredients. Is they have the desire to want whatever they want badly. If they have a desire to be successful, they have the other one is discipline. They develop good habits, and whatever it takes, it's about making right choices. And your daughter has done a phenomenal job about making right choices, especially to have the guts to come back to the school. And then on top of that, and being successful, I mean, she has a determination. I mean, how many times, you know, listen, every time somebody gets bullied, they get knocked down. And for 2 years, 3 years, I can't remember how many years, she kept on getting back up, and she kept on going to school no matter what people said about her. She is a strong individual that I'm sure takes after her mom and her dad. And so I commend you for, you know, being an awesome, you know, mom. But so anyway, well, that's about all we have for the Bully Resistance Show with David Wells. Before we go, again, I want to thank all the sponsors for supporting the Bully Resistance Show. Also, I want to encourage all the listeners to go on my website at www.davebond.org and subscribe to the Bully Resistance Show with David Wells. And so until next time, thanks for listening.